Let's see, we got Shaman King episode 7. Why do we actually just list up the, episode number on this categorized right? So yeah, we finally have the Faust episode.
Yeah. He doesn't summon demons, but my idea was right.
Yeah.
Because he is related to the Faust.
Yeah, just straight up the historical Faust, who apparently also was involved in the last Shaman King fight.
Yeah, he took, not the last one, but he took place in one for, a long time ago.
Yeah. Because they mention it's oh yeah, the old, his aunts. So the Faust in Shaman King is Faust the Eighth. And he mentions that it's his great-great-grandfather, Faust the First, took place in, he took part in a Shaman King fight, but he was, killed by his own demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Faust we're dealing with doesn't summon demons, but his ancestor did.
Yeah.
Which is where I got the idea that this Faust would summon demons to fight.
Yeah. So you're not that far off, honestly.
Yeah.
And this, so I feel like I've said a few times for a couple different episodes by now, pacing usually hasn't been that big of a problem, even though it hasn't been great so far. This episode could have definitely been a two-parter. And I'm not just saying that because I think Faust is really cool. It goes so absurdly fast on the pacing. They cut out, a good bit and, still nothing has time to really settle, because they're just, just blasting through it so fast.
Yeah.
The pacing here is so absurd that, there's a point where they start playing, this dark theme music as, the fight starts. And, the instant Faust hits they don't even have time to, slow the music down. It just hard cuts into the next track. It's, the most jarring musical cut I've ever heard in an anime.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know anything about I wasn't paying that much attention. But yeah, I have no context. I don't know if it was paced badly or whatever, from the manga. I think you said they skipped over something.
Yeah. So, they skipped over a good bit, actually, because, so I'll just get into it. They just cut out an entire, little section where, Faust just okay, so, actually, do this in a lot of way that makes sense, because, first off, it's fight starts, Faust just, starts summoning skeletons and, holds Manta down, because he's oh, I wanna, dissect him and learn his secrets.
Yeah, it turns out I'm not the only person who thinks it's weird that Manta's so tiny.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manta. Yeah. Apparently that's just a running gag at this point. It's why is Manta so small?
Faust just shows up and gives this big introduction where he's oh, why can't I cure death, I've, saved so many lives, but all the people I've saved just die anyways and stuff. And he, randomly pulls out an effing, skeleton that's, chained to his arm. And he's oh yeah, by the way, I'm a necromancer, and I'm interested in that boy over there. Hey, skeletons, get him!
Yeah, Amidamaru is that guy smells like death.
Yeah.
Straight up, he smells like a crap ton of corpses.
Yeah, there's a brief scene where Anna's talking with Silva and he's basically explaining what necromancer actually is and stuff. And he's warning her to get out of this match and all this stuff.
Yeah, he's like, yo can't do this fight. You got to get him out of there.
Yeah, and there's above this exclamation. It's cut out. And it's crap, what I'm actually thinking. Right, he just straight up, like, implies... Alright, first off, he just straight up implies that, like, Faust has just straight up been, like, murdering his opponents.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, yeah, no, this, like, would it help you, like, decide to take out of this match if I told you his opponent was an actual for real serial killer?
It's like, no, for real though.
Yeah, no, Faust has a body count, literally. Yeah, so, like, builds up this intrigue, and you, like, see him pull out the skeleton with an effing, like, bullet hole in its head, and it's like, oh, did he kill this one himself? What's going on with that?
Yeah, the answer to that is no.
Yeah, surprisingly no.
It's like, oh, wow, okay.
But yeah, so Faust just starts summoning skeletons. And he, like, holds Manta down and just cuts him open. And, like, I remember saying, like, I think during Final Fantasy XIV that it's like, oh yeah, yo, it's kind of crazy that they just skipped over something. I don't know if it's, like, if it's censorship or if it's because it's too, like, crazy. But yeah, this is totally what I'm talking about. Because, like, you get to see what he does to Manta in the manga.
Yeah, I thought it was like conspicuously like hidden what was happening.
Yeah, so
I couldn't actually tell. It was like, is he cutting him open? What's happening?
yeah, he straight up does like the full on like science class frog dissection.
Yeah.
Like he is straight up like cuts his stomach open and he's got the little like things like peeling the skin back. So we can just see his actual, like, muscles and, like, chest bones.
Yeah. And Manta, while he does complain that it hurts, is very calm about this.
Yeah, amazingly so.
Like you would almost think it isn't hurting him at all, the way he's reacting. Except he's, like, crying. That's, like, the only real indicator that it hurts.
Like... I'll just say straight up, like, the biology in this series, like, this is not human biology.
Apparently not.
Yeah, this series does not know how the people work. Like, cause he cuts open Manta like an effing frog, and just freaks out and, like, knocks Faust away. He's, like, trying to, like, treat the wound and, like, tie his shirt around him to, like, close it up and stuff. And, like, we get a bit of a brief explanation that it's like, okay, yeah, it's like there's, like, a thin layer of skin or whatever, like, it's not literally down to the muscle, but still, like...
Yeah, still.
Holy crap.
And the what's his name, Silva, is standing by, and it's like, we're gonna have to, like, stop this. Or, like, Silva's standing there, and, like, his eagle spirit comes out, and he's like, yo, we have to stop this. And he's like, no, if we interfere, then he loses by default.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, ends up losing anyway, but, like, at least he gave it his best, I guess.
Yeah. I appreciate that the eagle is like, yo, this is screwed up, man.
Yeah.
This guy sucks. And apparently he's a future friend if the intro is anything to go off of.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, that's the thing, is, like, once a new villain shows up, it's then that I start looking at the intro, and it's like, oh no. This guy, really?
Yeah, Faust is just in the intro, just chilling out in his wheelchair. Like, he's just with the hero group, like, oh yeah, don't worry, it's cool.
Like, it's very much not cool.
Because, like, holy crap, this introduction to a character... Because he shows up and immediately, like, cuts the comic relief character open like a frog. And Yo's like, no, don't do that. And Yo's like, I have to Manta to a real doctor. And Faust just gets up and he's like, I am a real doctor.
Yeah. It's the Dragon Ball Z abridged. I need an adult. I am an adult.
Yeah. Holy crap. Like, so there's a point in this fight just shortly after us where it's like, the actual battle starts and Yo's like, alright, I won't forgive you and da-da-da. He's like fighting Faust skeletons. There's a point that they cut out where it's like, Yo knocks Faust away, and he actually, like, knocks Faust into, like, a tombstone, like, hard enough to break it.
Ah.
Because I should mention, like, they're having this fight in a straight-up graveyard for, like, foreign, like, corpses or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know who cleared that. That seems unfair to Yo.
Yeah. Well, turns out the Great Spirit just straight-up cleared it.
The Great Spirit's piece of crap.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those things we get a quick, like, throwaway exclamation for, where it's like, okay, yeah, the Great Spirit just schedules fights for places that brings out each character's strongest abilities.
And so, I guess since Yo's power comes from something that just travels with him, then
yeah,
yeah.
There's actually a quick point they cut out of the manga. Sorry, not cut out of the manga. They cut out of the anime, where like in the manga they quickly explain like, oh yeah, this is why like all of Yo's matches are happening during like like vacations and like weekends and stuff. Cause like it wouldn't be fair if Yo had to basically, like, skip school to, like, participate in a battle, right? Or if he got, like, multiple ones back-to-back.
True.
So it does work both ways, but, like, there's no real environmental advantage that, like, Yo could really get from his fighting style. So True. Faust just gets the biggest advantage possible from this. It's like, if you fight with water, then, you're gonna, like, fight at the pier, basically, is what this is.
Yeah.
It's like, if your fighting style requires you to, like, have sand nearby, then, it's gonna take place on, like, a beach or, like, a desert. Yeah, stuff like that. So, hey, if you're a necromancer, you just get, like, 1,000 corpses to throw at your opponent. Because screw it. But yeah, so Yo knocks Faust into like a tombstone and just breaks it. And there's this bit they cut from the anime, which I really wish they kept. Where like everyone kind of notes that it's like, oh yeah, Faust doesn't seem to be reacting to pain much. Dude's probably like hyped up on painkillers right now, just straight up.
I'd believe it. He seems like a crazy weirdo who would do that.
Yeah, and Faust is like, that's no good. You broke my femur. See, he like holds up his like leg and like jiggles it around super creepily.
Yeah, from what I understand, femur is one of the most painful things that can possibly happen to you.
Yeah. So Faust is like, yeah, don't worry, I'll like fix this in no time. And he just straight up like he takes a scalpel and he just cuts into his own leg so he could physically, like, rip out his broken bone. And he just, like, tosses it to Eliza, just like, oh yeah, find another femur the exact same size as this one from all the skeletons in the graveyard. And she just, like, does it, like, throws it back, just shoves it in place, and he's like, oh yeah, healing a broken bone can take weeks, but, like, the actual muscles just, like, heal back in a few days, so, like, actually healing is, like, way more optimal if you do it like this.
Healing is easy when you're a psychopath.
Yeah, and he's like, and with my abilities, I can heal within 3 minutes. So
okay, I think I have the most important question. Where did he get a skeleton of a giant?
Yeah, that's actually made from the bones of like the skeletons around him, like they all just fused together.
No, it's not. That's a giant skeleton. It doesn't look like it fused a bunch of bones together. It's the skeleton of a giant.
Yeah, like it's way more clear in the manga, honestly.
Okay, I believe that. In the anime, it just looks like, oh, he has a giant skeleton somehow. Do giants exist? We don't know.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the image real quick. Should take like
Ugh.
uh not really seeing it immediately, but like
Also, it is another episode or another podcast where we're jumping around a lot, and it's because it's another episode where it's mostly just a fight.
yeah. Yeah, I can't find it immediately, but you'll also have to trust me on this when I say that it's like, yeah, he just fused all the skeletons in the graveyard together, and it's a really cool shot in the manga.
Mm. Yeah, because in the anime, it's just a giant skeleton.
Yeah, in the anime you see like some bones like flying upwards, but you don't see them actually like coming together, right?
Yeah. Also, Faust has a skeleton dog when he shows up.
Yeah. Like his skeleton dog just shows up and just brings him his weapon, which is just a giant cross with a big razor blade strapped to it.
Yeah, I think it's the weapon we see him wielding in the end shot of the previous episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so like they count the quick explanation for it's like, oh yeah, he just can like just rip out his bones and just put new ones in to heal himself super quickly.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes him such a dangerous opponent, cause like he can just straight up heal damage on himself, and he's also prepared with like medical supplies.
Well, he's a doctor, supposedly.
Yeah. So it's like in the anime they don't really like go into that as much, but you do quickly see that he's like, during the fight he just stands up and he's just got his like head bandaged and he's just got a skeleton with like a blood bag strapped to him. So he's like, replacing his like lost blood mid battle to heal up.
Yeah, I think you do see that in the anime. Is like there's like an IV, like a
Yeah.
skeleton has an IV or something.
Yeah, little IV stand. Which makes way more sense in the context they just cut his own leg open.
Yeah, yeah. I guess this show is apparently okay with being violent, but not too violent.
Yeah.
Because the skeleton that he brings out in the beginning of the fight is his dead wife, Eliza, who got killed by robbers.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, and when he's talking about that, it's like when he mentions that she was killed, it shows like a splash of blood as the transition scene.
Yeah. So, like, basically what this whole phase is that it's like Faust is basically using the minimum amount of energy possible to, like, control all these skeletons at once. Like, there's actually... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they keep reinforcing how much weaker Faust is than Yo. Like,
Yeah.
apparently he's way weaker, but he's using strategy to his advantage.
Yeah. Like, in the manga, I actually have, like, a throwaway line where there is, like, oh yeah, keep up all these skeletons actually only uses out, like, 1% of his power. Because he's just got his energy around, like, the connecting joints and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
they do mention that raising the skeleton army was actually, like, it took almost no energy to do it.
Yeah. Because it's like, all he's really doing is making them move. And granted, they're strong as, like, they were in life, but it's like, when you're talking about, like, fantasy powers and stuff, that's not that dangerous, really.
They're only as strong as an animated skeleton would be.
Yeah, they're only as strong as they were when they're, like, killed, basically. Or, like, when they died or were. So they have the strength of dying adults, kind of.
Yeah, you see, it's like the joke where it's like, oh no, a skeleton. What'll I do? And then you just like break its bones or something. It's like it's a skeleton. You see, Yo cuts down tons of them.
Oh yeah, but because they're just skeletons, it's like there's nothing to really like destroy, I guess.
Yeah,
so they just put themselves back together.
Yeah, unless you destroy the skeleton's actual bones, like he
Yeah.
does. He does it to Eliza. He destroys like her leg bones.
Like, there's a bit where Cal's just straight up says in the manga, like, because this is another one of those weird lines in his Cal, where he's like, oh yeah, you have to, like, grind these things to powder to make them stop. It's like, yeah, it's about right, I guess.
And it's worth noting that Yo blew a ton of his energy early in the fight out of rage because he
Yeah.
was hurting Manta.
Yeah. That's like, cause like, so that's another thing, cause like in the manga, he like, Faust like rips his leg bone out and has it replaced, and he's like, oh yeah, this will take about 3 minutes. And like, Yo fights his skeletons for a bit, and it's implied that he's kept Yo busy for like 3 minutes straight. So it
Hmm.
makes way more sense they'd be like, just out at this point. Because, like, Yo's just, like, not really controlling how much energy he's using, and Faust is just using, like, as little as possible while he just, like, heals up, basically. So, like, Faust just, you didn't hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, just making sure, because you weren't really saying anything or anything. But yeah, so Faust essentially just weakens Yo to the point where his energy's just running out. And he's like, okay, yeah, time to end this. Like, he's been using the skeletons as his oversoul, but they just takes all the energy from them and puts them into, like, the main skeleton. And he's like, okay, this is my real oversoul. This is, like, my actual fighting style. I, like, revive my dead wife and she just goes ham on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
And
yeah.
it's like okay. And he says that there's a difference between just resurrecting a bunch of skeletons and resurrecting Eliza the way he does.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning that it's like, so this is gonna be like probably get annoying because I'll keep saying this, but there's another quick bit they cut from the manga where
Hmm.
it's like Yo tries to cut her arm, but like she just like blocks his slash with her wrist or whatever, and you can see that it's like the actual like skin on her is just like an illusion basically.
Ah,
Because, like, Yo
yeah,
cuts in, you just see, like, the bone, and it just blocks his sword attack, because, like, it's charged with his oversoul power. So it's
yeah,
like, you have to use your own oversoul to cut through it.
yeah. Faust does say that the end goal is to truly resurrect her, and not like in
Yeah.
the way that he has.
Yeah, because this she is, it's like, she can retain her, like, appearance she had in life, but she's still, like, a mindless skeleton. He's just puppeting around.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, he's like, he basically just beats the shit out of Yo with her. Yeah, he's doing all these cool stuff, like he's like blocking his attacks, he's like, using his big crazy like pole arm weapon. There's a bit where like Yo blocks the axe, but the energy actually shoots out of it and stabs into him anyway. Cause it's like soul energy, so it cuts past where the blade is. But yeah, like crazy stuff. And they
yeah.
actually
The way Yo figures out, it's like, okay, I know how to beat him, and then he calls the resurrected Eliza a doll,
yeah.
and like it's like, oh, okay. And it's like Faust is so unbelievably upset about this that he just flies into a rage and starts using up his energy really recklessly.
Yeah. Cause like this is something I like bring up where it's like, Eliza isn't actually that powerful, even though she's like, his true oversoul and stuff. Like, Faust isn't stronger than Yo, just straight up, as you like said before. And
Yeah,
Eliza's not that powerful either, cause it's like it's
just a
a
skeleton.
yeah, she's just a skeleton using like, a weaker level of energy and stuff. Like, there's a point in the manga where Yo just straight up says, like, oh yeah, like, it's so frustrating because she's, like, not nearly as strong as Lee Pyron was.
Yeah.
But, like, because he's been worn down, he's still, like, struggling against her.
Also, there's something about, speaking of Lee Pyron, there's like a whole thing where it's like the body can't truly be resurrected unless the spirit wants to be or something.
Yeah, something
Like
like that.
I didn't quite understand what they were saying because Pyron was clearly being used against his will.
Yeah. It's like, Pyron was being controlled, but, like, at least he still had, like, his senses and his, like, like, own, like, way to think and stuff. Like, you get rid of the seal tag, and, Pyron is, like, a sentient thinking being.
Yeah.
Like, he has sapience would probably be a good way to phrase it.
Yeah, he's not just a mindless puppet if he doesn't have the spell tag.
Yeah, the spell tag's just to control him because he's not a mindless puppet. Unlike Eliza right now.
Yeah.
Cause, like, he has the soul in her, presumably, to, like, make her move and stuff, but it's not, like, rejoining. It's just, like, it's just there.
Yeah. Because that's the only way to make it. I guess that's the only way to give it like the appearance of being alive.
Yeah. Like, he's just forcing her soul into this thing and controlling everything she does because the soul doesn't have the power to, like, like, give its own thoughts and stuff to the body yet, essentially, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Faust should talk to the Tao family.
Yeah, he should just
It
talk to June for a bit.
seems like his issue could be solved without being the Shaman King.
Yeah.
Then again, Pyron's not resurrected. He's still a zombie. He probably doesn't want that.
Oh, man. Like, it'd be interesting if he talked with June and she was just like, oh no, like, you have to do it while the body's still fresh. You waited too long on this.
Yeah. Skeleton's too late.
Yeah. And I'd believe it.
Who knows? With the power of the Shaman King, maybe you could do it.
Yeah. I absolutely believe if you have the Shaman King power, you can just revive a person, like, easily.
Especially if you already specialize in necromancy.
Yeah, especially if you have, like, the body just right there. It's like, okay, yeah, just add flesh to this, and then, bring the soul back. It's like, yeah, boom, there you go. But yeah, like, I'm curious why Faust ends up in a wheelchair in the intro, because I don't remember the actual reason, but, like, he can just fix his body up pretty, like, easily, it seems.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of strange, especially since you said they cut out all the stuff about him like destroying his own leg in the fight, or
Yeah.
like trying to fix it or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, not just trying, he just straight up does fix it.
Right.
He's just walking around at the end, no problem, just like, oh yeah, it just took 3 minutes, it's fine.
I fixed it.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that he was in a wheelchair, honestly.
it's like, oh, my leg's bad, that's fine, just rip out the bone, put in another one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like when you have to change a tire on your car. Man, I just feel like just in the background, like somewhere off in the distance, Baron's just internally screaming at this and he doesn't understand why. He just feels pain at the bad science going on.
Baron, like our friend Baron?
Yeah.
Oh.
BaronvonCreepy.
Is he like a scientist or something?
Yeah, he like teaches biology, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just imagine somewhere he's just sitting around, he's like, I just have a sudden headache, but I don't know why.
Something stupid's being talked about.
Yeah. It's like, why am I suddenly thinking about necrosis? Yeah. So it's like, Faust just straight up wrecks Yo. But Yo gets the cool move in the end where he just like, he gets the bit of like energy left in his sword and he cuts off Eliza's legs and manages to like beat his true oversoul, but Faust still has plenty of energy to fight with, while Yo's just kind of out. So Yo just loses by default, basically.
Very unfortunate, but and then he gets really upset about it, and I'm sitting there like, dude, you're not out of the game yet.
Yeah.
But I get what they're going for. It's like a sudden revelation. It's like, oh, I can lose.
It's one of those moments where it's like, I swear, like, if this just had one more episode, because I feel like there's definitely enough stuff they count to like fit in it. Like, if this was just like a 2-part like thing instead of just a one-off episode or whatever, then like they could have made that scene so much better. Because they could have actually like built up and they could have like, maybe like shown like, how Yo was fighting off the skeletons, so you felt his like desperation as he runs out of energy or whatever. Then like,
yeah, because Yo like swings at a couple of groups of skeletons and like jumps at Faust once, and it's like, oh, his energy's gone.
yeah.
Meanwhile, he tanked a crapload of like stabs from Horo Horo, no problem, and still had plenty of energy left.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those annoying things where it's like, functionally, like, as far as just like, working, it's like, this is like a functional narrative. It's like, okay, we're just told that Yo overused his energy and he just runs out. Like, that's perfectly like logical. But it's like, boy, does the execution leave something to be desired when it's in the course of like 30 seconds.
Yeah, being told that Yo is out of energy isn't as effective as showing us why.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like I said, he does a few things and he's suddenly out of energy, and it's like, oh, what?
Yeah. Heck, like, even outside of this, there are gags they cut out of this. There's like a weird bit where it's like, Silva's not even at the fight yet, and he's like, he's talking with Anna, and he goes off to like eat dinner before the match, and ends up being late because like he doesn't have enough money to pay his restaurant bills, so he has to like wash dishes to work it off. Like, that just happens in the background, and they cut all of it. So
I mean, that's super unnecessary. I don't blame them.
Yeah, it sure is, but I'm just saying, if you wanted to make this a 2-episode deal, you have more material to work with.
Yeah.
They could have done it.
It could have stood to be longer because, yeah, a lot of it was kind of weird.
Yeah. Like, just because like the Lee Parent thing was like a bit awkwardly paced, but it was like fine enough. First episode could have been 2, but like it's fine enough as like a first entry to the series just to get everything out of the way. This feels like the first time where the series is actually like really suffering over it.
Yeah, the Faust thing feels weird.
Yeah. But yeah, so Faust just beats Yo, and Yo's like, oh man, I care so much about this now and stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. We learned that Yo was an outcast because I guess his whole family is like,
yeah.
oh, it's not great. We don't like them.
Yeah, kids are calling him like a demon child or more because he talks with ghosts. So like Manta's actually like his first real friend, like outside of the family.
Yeah.
Which like honestly recontextualizes a lot of stuff in like a neat way, I think.
Yeah. And Anna's the one telling it, and Yo's just like, what? Shut up. Don't tell them.
Yeah. I like that Yo's just kind of irritated over it. It's like, I mean, it's not
Yeah, it's not exactly a good childhood. I can understand why he's like, why are you telling them this? They don't need to
Yeah.
know this.
But yeah. So it's like, Yo loses, but he's like, alright, that's fine, yo, I'll do better next time and really work and stuff. And meanwhile, Faust is off to the side, like, I'll kill you, you fucking brat.
Yeah, pretty much. I gotta say though, Yo's backstory when compared directly to Faust is kind of makes Yo seem pretty weak in comparison.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, he had a bad childhood, but it's like, okay, Faust was like ostracized by people for being a nerd, I think is what he was basically getting at,
Yeah.
except for one girl who was warm and nice and talked to him, and then after 20 years of fighting a incurable disease, she managed to beat it, and then she gets shot in the head by just random robbers.
Yeah. I like to think that like the direct implication is that it's like Faust made a cure for her, right?
Well, that's not what he says. He says that after 20
Yeah.
years, she beat it.
Like, it's a bit ambiguous, but I'd like to imagine that it's like, because he says it's incurable. So I like to imagine it's like he found some way to, like, cure it eventually, and that's what, like, tied that whole thing together. Because afterwards, she's like, just gets with him immediately, it seems.
Because they were Eliza was his wife. I don't know if we ever brought
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I brought it up when I first mentioned who she was.
Yeah.
Um. Also, there shows a little flashback of him happy with Eliza, and they had a dog. So
Yeah.
I believe we know where the skeleton dog came from. I don't
Yeah.
know if no idea how it died. I want to believe that Faust didn't kill it just to have a dog skeleton.
I'd believe it just sort of died of old age, because, yeah, I mean, it's a dog, like, it's probably not gonna live stupid long.
Yeah. Like if he's going to join the heroes, I want to believe he's not a dog killer.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It's like, you just see Dio and he just kicks a dog into a furnace. And like an episode later, Dio's like actually a sad childhood. And Yo's like, great, you're on the team.
My dad was an awful person, and all this my father was an awful person. My mother died because of him, and blah blah blah. And then Yo's just like, "That's so sad. You're my friend now."
Remember, we have established that no one who can see ghosts is a bad person. Even
And
though
what is
all
a
these people
stand?
seem pretty terrible.
Yeah, what is a stand but a ghost? In fact, it like Jotaro was convinced that his stand was a ghost for a while.
Oh man. What what is a stand user if they're like not a good person?
An enemy stand.
uh I'm just trying to like remember what's his name, the god like the lovers or whatever, like I think he's Steely Dan.
I don't know. What's the power?
The lovers. It like goes inside your head and if you like hurt him it hurts the people you like.
Oh, the guy. Oh yeah, he put the thing in Joseph's brain, right?
Yeah, they have to like shrink their stands down to fight them in Joseph's head.
What a stupid episode.
I love it. Like he just like goes through all that and he makes like Jotaro become a human bridge, just walks all over him and stuff. And after his being, he's like, no, but my mom was mean to me, and Jotaro's like, join the gang. Let's go.
We're gonna go kill Dio.
You have a stand, right? You can't be a bad person. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting to see how the heck they like redeem some of these characters.
Boy, is it. Because like
Oh man.
Ren's already like a maniac, and it's like, okay, I don't like what the heck. And then it's like, okay, but no, now we're gonna redeem the crazy necromancer
Yeah. The
who may or may
literal
not who may or, who may or may not have an army of people he killed as his skeleton army.
The literal serial killer who plays Frankenstein with himself.
To the point where I think in something I didn't really notice until I saw a picture on the stream is like he's got like it looks like he's stitched part of his skin back together.
Yeah. I'd believe that, like, there's some point where he, like, just removed one of his ribs or something to replace it, and it just started rotting that area, so he got, like, a weird skin graft. And that also started rotting or something. Cause,
I
like...
mean, the real answer is like they wanted him to look like a weird Frankenstein.
yeah, pretty much.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's what... Alright, so that's one of the things that people say to, like, be smart and, like, smarmy and stuff. But it's like, the guy's name was Victor von Frankenstein, so as his creation, the monster would also be a Frankenstein.
Yeah, I know. It's just saying that he's Frankenstein's monster is more. It is more
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah, but only, like, slightly.
Yeah.
Because people
Also,
are like, oh, Frankenstein's the scientist, not the monster. It's like, no, the monster would be like Adam Frankenstein, because, like, he's the modern Prometheus and stuff, and that's a thing.
yeah, I also learned through a YouTube channel I follow who talks about like old books and like stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, Frankenstein's monster was like super like Victor Frankenstein is the real villain of that book.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, his monster straight up, like, murders people, but, it's like...
It's
Alright, so the
because
monster's also a villain, but he at least kind of has his reasons.
yeah, Victor created the monster, got scared of him, and like ran away from him and left the newly born monster to like learn. It had to learn everything because it's like a baby.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't know how to control its own emotions, and it's just got all this rage and super strength inside of it, because it's like, frustrated and confused, and it doesn't have anyone else like it that can, like, relate to it or its struggles or anything.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the book where the monster's just like, oh hey, Frankenstein, make me a bride, and Frankenstein's like, no. So the monster's like, okay, then I'll kill your girlfriend.
Well, Victor starts doing it, and then he realizes that he's making another monster, and it's a bad idea.
Yeah. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, except that the monster is arguably the more reasonable one here.
Yeah.
Even though he's a killer, like...
I forget how it works in, like, the original book, but I like Junji Ito's interpretation where it's like, like, he makes the Bride of Frankenstein, and it actually, like, comes to life, and it starts fighting the other Frankenstein because it's also just confused and freaking out and doesn't know how to handle things. So the original just rips it apart, and he's like, you tricked me, I'm gonna kill everyone you love and leave.
That, I don't know, that's kind of silly.
Yeah. And I kinda like it.
I think that interpretation's really silly.
Also, it's just this, like, infamous, like, meme panel of, like, Frankenstein finds his, like, dead girlfriend or, like, wife or whatever, and he just looks over, and the monster's just in the window pointing and laughing at him. Like, I'll have to, like, post her or something in Discord if I find it. It's so funny.
That sounds hilarious, actually. Yeah, sounds like a good book. I'm probably still never gonna read it, but I'm fine with the brief synopsis that I got.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point where it's like, oh, Frankenstein's monster finds a blind guy, and the blind guy can't see him, so he can hang out with him.
Yeah. The one you're talking about's from Overly Sarcastic Productions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, that's a good channel, go check them out, Overly Sarcastic Productions. They do, like, trope talk and stuff, and that's, like, always an interesting series to watch.
Yeah, I don't really watch any of Blue's stuff. I'm more into Red's stuff.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Because it's like history's fine. I like history, but mythology's way more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like, as if you want to check out history, check out Salmonella Academy or something. He does some pretty fun, crazy videos on that. I don't know if you've like ever heard of him, but like, yeah, you've probably seen some of his stuff at some point without realizing it, because he does like weird stick figures and stuff and makes a bunch of dumb memes and stuff like that.
No, probably not. Then I don't. If I see like a video, if I see like a video like pop up in my recommendations and it's got like a bunch of stick figures in the thumbnail, I'm probably not gonna click it.
Oh man. There's just a really good one where he's like, it's one of his earlier ones where he's talking about what it's like to live as a pirate. And he's like, oh, so you want to know how it's to be as... I'm trying to remember the exact quote here. It's like, you want to know how it's to live as a swashbuckling, corn shuckling, wife cuckling, cock suckling pirate. He's like got little like images for it.
Oh no.
It's like the funniest effing thing. Oh man. But yeah, so Shaman King.
Yeah, basically basically the match ends and Yo loses. And then Faust summons a giant skeleton. And it's like, oh no, Anna and no, Anna doesn't really move to do anything. It's Silva.
Yeah. In the manga, like, both of them move to do something. Like, Silva just throws off his cloak super dynamically and strikes, like, a Pillar Man pose.
Yeah, so yeah, Silva, at least in the anime, Silva jumps in to intervene. And before they can, Rin flies out of nowhere on his horse or whatever it is and, like, destroys the giant skeleton in a single hit.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, why would he save him? And he's like, oh, nobody gets to kill Yo but me.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, you're my next opponent. I'm not gonna let you take away my easy victory.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I don't know if Ren's hit his other match yet, but I'd assume he probably has. Like, I'd have to assume our matches are going on in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is another thing. Okay, alright, so this is the dumbest thing, but I do want to specify that, like, in the manga there's a specified, like, specific attack name for the giant skeleton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Faust is calling out attack names and stuff. They're all in German, though, so I don't know what they are.
Yeah, he just calls it the... I want to be very specific here because the manga is extremely specific. But he says, like, can you defeat my 12,730 kilogram calcium giant? It's, like, so stupidly specific.
Mm-hmm.
And Rin just kills it instantly. Which, like, honestly makes perfect sense, because, like, yo, Faust isn't that physically strong of an opponent, but Rin is. But yeah, I honestly really like the way this is, like, subbed, because it's like, yo, you have your big, like, undefeatable, like, yo, opponent that's, like, yo, the big force loss battle, but it's because he fights smart. So it's like, you can still up the stakes by having someone stronger and still have them be, like, you know, like, a different type of challenge, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, because maybe Yo is still physically stronger than Rin.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's not like, yo, like, oh, Frieza just showed up and the next guy we're gonna fight's, like, physically weaker than Frieza. It's like, you know, Rin's, like, presented as, like, a bigger obstacle, even though Yo's probably totally gonna wreck him.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's another problem. Is like, Yo can't lose twice.
Oh, yeah.
So he can't lose to Rin.
Well, what if Yo doesn't become the Shaman King in a shonen series?
I find that hard to believe.
What if Naruto didn't become the Hokage, though?
Or at least I find it hard to believe that Yo would lose this early in, because then what's the rest of the series?
Yeah, good question.
Like, I guess there's the whole plot line with his missing kidnapped brother, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's
what?
the other thing. It feels weird that we got that so early on when it's not really relevant.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah. Like, I'll straight up say that Yo's brother is Hao. I don't remember if they, like, mention his name yet or not or whatever. But it's like, yeah, we've got nothing from Hao so far. He was just that random, like, episode 1 cutaway, and he just buggered off for, like, 13 years or whatever.
Yeah, so I guess that's where it could go if he loses the Shaman King tournament, but I
Yeah.
imagine the whole point of that is that he's going to find out that his brother is in the Shaman King tournament.
Yeah. Maybe the tournament is just to establish a bunch of really strong characters, and Yo just loses, and he's like, alright, friends, let's go fight the end of the world.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just waiting to see what they do with that plot line.
Yeah. So yeah, like, also, yeah, I shouldn't forget there's like a weird line where like, yo, like Ren's like, oh yeah, that calcium giant wasn't so strong after all. They must not have drunk much milk before they died. As for me, I
Right.
drink 3 bottles a day.
It's a good for you, Ren.
I'm just sitting there like, good god, man. That's not healthy.
I like milk, but it's a bit excessive.
Yeah. You're gonna get calcium overdeposit for sure, dude. But yeah, like, any final thoughts, I guess, or whatever?
Uh, I'm excited to see the fight between Yo and Ren, like the proper fight.
Yeah. Because, like, we still don't know what Ren's Oversoul is. Although, like, I feel like we can probably guess what it's gonna be.
Probably gonna be his big Chinese swordman and his horse.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Not what I was thinking, but sure, that'd be interesting too. It might be.
It might be. I mean, you know,
Maybe.
I imagine you actually know.
Oh yeah, I actually kinda know. I don't remember the specifics, but I know what it looks like.
Hmm.
But yeah, that should be interesting. But yeah,
There's
like, any...
I was just saying, did I say swordsman? He's not a swordsman. He wields a spear or
Yeah.
like a glaive or whatever.
A spearman. I think
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't sound as nice. But yeah, like, thoughts on Faust?
I'm baffled that he joins the good guys. Interesting, not as bloodborne as I expected.
Yeah, weirdly not really. Like, he's way more of like, just to send goons after you and then beat you up later type of guy.
Yeah, because when he shows up, it's like, oh, his outfit's not very bloodborne at all. Like he's got like a top hat.
Yeah, he's like kind of foppish.
Yeah, he's got a top hat and a doctor's coat, and I'm pretty sure he wears like lipstick. He's like very flamboyant.
Yeah, he's got his, like, lipstick and his weird dark circles under his eyes from, like, staying up days on end studying. Yeah, that's the
Or
canon
it's eyeshadow.
explanation. No, the manga straight up says it's because he stays up all night studying all the time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's got his little, like, flower sticking out of his hat, yo. He's just like a weird foppish, like, British guy, kind of.
He's German.
Well, yeah. I don't know why I get, like, a British impression off of him. Like, I
Because
feel
he's
like I've
wearing
always just had that ever since I was, like, a kid.
Yeah, it's because he's wearing a top hat.
Yeah, that's probably totally what it is. Cause, yeah, that's the thing, it's not really, like, as much of a top hat as much as it's, like, a weird, like... It's, like, shaped like one, but there's this weird, like, curve at the top, cause it's, like, a weird, like, dome. I know, it's weird.
Stylized top hat.
Yeah, very, very odd. But yeah, I feel like he did live up to expectations, if nothing else.
He's pretty neat.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys around next time.
Later.
Later.
Beyond